Hey, we are back for another episode of CW Movie Night. It's been a while. We're once again talking some space aliens and some space alien adjacent upcoming films. How you doing tonight, Dean?
I'm doing pretty good. Excited to talk, paranormal, alien, UAPs, UFOs, flying tic tacs, you name it.
Perfect. How you doing, Fern?
Doing fantastic. You know, half the day I thought that the stream was gonna be about aliens, the movie. Then I had to go back and read it again. I was like, oh, we're talking about aliens, aliens.
Actual aliens, yeah. Well,
That's
alleged aliens.
Yeah.
go back and what you were gonna rewatch Aliens. Was that the second time then?
Watching? No, I haven't even watched it the first time.
Okay,
Oh,
that's good.
wow.
So you never seen it. So we're gonna talk some regular space aliens, but yeah, you didn't have time to watch Aliens before the shoot, brother. That's okay. But like I don't know if you guys caught it. I updated the intro. That's pretty sweet. You'll have to catch it on the replay. You guys were chilling a little bit too hard at the beginning there.
Oh, yeah, I
But
didn't see it.
yeah, man, we got there's been a lot of news on this topic since we last did
Yeah,
one of these,
yeah.
and like
Especially on like the exact topic we talked last time.
Yeah. So like they just keep dropping new stuff. Like Trump's always saying something interesting, or like Obama's doing something interesting.
Yeah,
And like
people
there's
go missing.
videos, like Obama's making headlines early in February, so there's lots going on, and we're gonna talk about it. So like it basically there's so much I couldn't even like wrap my head around all the slides. So it's like the main thing is in February, Obama's on this podcast. I don't even remember what the name of the show is. Okay, but there's Brian Tyler Cohen is the podcast, and he said a real innocuous comment. The host asked him, "Are aliens real?" And he said, "They're real, but we're not keeping them underground at Area 51, and like none of that exists unless there's a giant conspiracy to even keep it from the president of the United States."
Which is reported. There are people that said there's people with clearances above the president, and they think that's crazy. Like, how are you going to have the leader of the free world not be clued in on everything?
Right, but of course, Obama has made way crazier statements than that. Like, I think it was maybe like 5 years ago on like James Corden or something. He said, "Yeah, there's objects in the sky that move around in ways that we don't understand, and that's a real thing. And like our pilots have seen them." Like, that's a more profound statement. It just shows you that the news cycle is what it is. Like, people need new stuff to talk
Yeah.
about. So like it wasn't that remarkable per se, but because the president is Donnie J. Trump, uh, you know, uh, he had to reply to what Obama said because he can't be upstaged on the alien topic, so he's got to be like, this is what really weird. They get this Air Force One comment from him, and he's like,
We got aliens. They're flying in the sky. And frankly, they're benevolent creatures.
well, it was kind of almost that good. It was like I think the best part was like some reporter says President Obama says there's aliens, and Trump just cuts him off. He shouldn't have said that. He's releasing classified information if he said that.
It's not even classified anymore. Well, like this video that's shown
Yeah,
on this clip, like they've declassified some stuff. So
yeah. But he's like, just by acknowledging it, he's released classified information. So like that's a weird thing to say. Because it's like,
yeah,
so he's saying you're saying there's classified information on that topic
yeah.
for sure.
Which, yeah, I I'm shocked that. Well, I don't know.
He
I'm
could just
100.
be messing around.
I'm
Yeah, he
100
Go ahead,
percent
Frank.
sure.
He
I'm
is a
100%
troll.
sure that they're keeping stuff from the president.
Yeah,
Yeah, because there's no way Donald Trump would keep that shit secret, dude.
I don't
He
know.
Especially
loves
Donald Trump.
running his mouth.
I don't know. The Operation Midnight Hammer was pretty secret until it happened. I don't know.
To be
Like,
completely honest, I would have thought that George W. would have said some wild stuff now that he's old and senile.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Look at the aliens on you.
now watch this drive. All right.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Aliens
that's
are real.
good.
Now watch this drive. Yeah. But that could be it. But you know, the people who are clued in say that Bush Senior was the one who knew a lot more on this topic than Junior, and like Dick Cheney was like. There's a lot of talk about how Dick Cheney was like probably the last guy who had like a comprehensive view of what they call the legacy program and all the reverse engineering projects and all that. But I don't know. But what's fun here is like Trump says he shouldn't have said that. He should release. He's revealing classified information if he said that. And then the report is like, well, you know, why don't you just declassify it? The president can declassify whatever he wants. And then Trump says, you know what? Maybe I'll release it just to get him out of trouble. That's what he said.
Doesn't he want him in prison? Which
Yeah,
is
but then
it,
he's-
man? Pick a lane.
Then you see the clip of them just laughing at memes together, being boys. So, like, I don't know. You know, maybe they're just having fun. But he said, maybe I'll release it to get him out of trouble. That's actually what he said.
There you go. Well, that'd be cool to get some information.
And then, you know, not 2 days later, we got this Truth Social message from the Don. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien, he said the word alien, and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. Now that's February 19th. The plot thickens. So like, here's what's okay. Any initial thoughts from either of you guys on this? Because there's some really important stuff in this message.
Yeah, I like that. Not only did he say alien, but extraterrestrial, meaning, you know, not from Earth. Very specifically. Because alien could just mean like foreign, like we don't really know, it's alien to us, right?
Yeah.
But extraterrestrial literally means not from Earth.
Yeah.
UAP, UFO are also very two different things. I mean, they're kind of used synonymously, but they're not exactly the same thing.
But
Right,
but the real point there is the use of UFOs, because there's been a lot of the government programs to like talk about this issue and declassify it. Like NASA did a study a couple years ago. There's been Arrow, which is like the Pentagon's like public facing program to release files, and they all use the term UAP because they're trying to destigmatize the topic.
Right.
This is funny because Trump's just like, we all know what we're talking about here.
Right, because a UFO is like a flying saucer. A
Basically.
UAP could be like, I don't know what the exact name of it, but like the red lightning. That's an aerial phenomenon. It's something that happens in the air. Like technically, the Northern Lights are a UAP.
Or just a Chinese drone that you don't know the design of it. Like anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, UAP is a very broad term. It could be weather, it could be, you know, something else. But UFO is like synonymous with a flying craft.
Yeah. So this is a wide net. He's not playing.
I do just want to point out he still included God. So, you know.
Well, I mean, when you're making a tweet like this, you have to include God. You don't want everyone to like keel over of heart attacks like that instant. You know what I mean? Like,
He included God and America.
yeah, and exactly. And what's all caps? UAP, UFO, and God in America. That's the all caps things.
And bless out.
Exactly. So, all right. So I guess the real question is like this message. Like you have all these guys pushing for disclosure all the time. This tweet is the most is the most movement that you can literally say this is the most important movement that's ever happened on this topic in years. Does it read as a joke to you? Is he just messing around? Would he say this if it was a joke? This is his real Truth Social account.
Yeah.
I feel like he's trying his hardest to get distraction away from him from the Epstein files.
I was gonna
That's
say,
okay.
you know, this is February. This is kind of at the height of all the Epstein stuff and about to start a war. I will say it's very convenient that that's always the case, right?
And also, it's not very action oriented. I will direct the Secretary of War to begin the process of identifying files. Like, what are we talking about? Like, is this going to come out like after your term is over? Like, how long is this going to take? That sounds very tenuous. And like, the first part of that is you're not making any short term promises by the sound of it. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say he made a similar promise this first term about releasing stuff, and
I
that
don't, I
never
don't,
came to fruition.
well, I mean, maybe you're talking about like,
Well, I guess it
maybe
did.
the Jersey drone swarm. He before he got elected, he was saying they know exactly what that is. I'm gonna lay the files out when I get elected, and then he gets in, and they're like, nothing to see here, basically. So we don't know about that. But here's where it gets weird. A couple days after that, retired Air Force General William Neil McCaslin, 68 years old, is reported missing after leaving his Albuquerque, New Mexico home on foot. This guy is real clued in. He was the, let's see, yeah, like this guy basically, like, if there's classified Air Force projects, like he was like hands on. So like forgetting the fact that he's directly tied to the communications that were going on with Tom DeLonge during Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2016. Like there's emails with this guy. Like I don't know if you, I don't, were you sort of cognizant of that whole Tom DeLonge to the Stars Academy thing back then? Like, did that ever come across your radar at all?
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm not super
Okay.
familiar
Well,
with that.
like Tom DeLonge set up this a company basically they had like this big press release and like stage show where they had uh Luis Elizondo and like Hal Puthoff and like all these guys who sort of claim insider adjacent knowledge on the classified reverse engineering programs. And Tom DeLonge from friggin' Blink 182 says, we're going to start this company and we're going to use these guys who know about this stuff. And we're basically going to build like a reproduction alien vehicle. And like, we're going to find people who have the information on
Okay.
this and release files, like crazy claims
Yeah.
with guys who are still involved in this topic, but To the Stars Academy has sort of disbanded. Like all the key players have left it, and it's sort of morphed into an entertainment company that was like producing a TV show or something and a few books. But when Tom DeLonge was doing that the initial press tour, he said, "There's a general from the inside that had a meeting with me, and he sat me down and he told me it was the Cold War." And we found a life form. And according to him, that's this guy who went missing 2 days after Trump tweeted that. So like there's it's probably unrelated. I mean, the guy's 68 years old. He hikes a lot. He, he they say he took a firearm when he left. It could be he could have fell down a gorge. It's New Mexico. He could have gone hiking and had an accident. We don't know that it's foul play, but this is the guy that Tom DeLonge says told him we got aliens.
Specifically the guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I think
he's been missing for weeks at this point.
I think the Men
The,
in
the,
Black got to him. To be honest,
well, like here's the thing. Like even if say it's nothing to do with the space aliens, somebody like this going missing is like a
Kind of a big
massive.
deal.
massive national security hazard because he just knew
Yeah.
about like so much stuff that the Air Force is working on, basically, right?
Right.
So it's like that's no good.
Yeah. Because it was him and a lady, right? The Asian lady, and they both worked at like the same private company as well, right? Or am I
If
thinking of
you're
two different people?
if you're saying somebody else went missing, I do not know about that.
What's this guy's name? Let me double check.
General Neil McCaslin or William Neil McCaslin. So
will
like
say-
you know, yeah,
I
go
will
ahead.
say, Tom DeLonge is a crazy name.
Is it?
I mean,
Well, it's kind of crazy that he was ever and like the you know like the working theory is that like there was an internal plan if Hillary had won to trickle out informations about the space aliens if Hillary won in a sort of controlled disclosure. And the like, you know, the conspiracy within the conspiracy theory is that Luis Elizondo was part of that. And the idea was, let's admit they're here, but let's not talk about reverse engineering. Let's not talk about we have stuff. Let's just say we've seen them buzzing us and there may be a threat and maybe we need to invest more money into the military, this or that, to like keep a better eye on this situation. There's a lot of people who say that was the plan if Hillary had won, to like make that a talking point. And this guy was sort of part of that with Tom DeLonge. Because apparently that shows you how out of touch boomers are, right? Like it's 2016. Like Tom DeLonge is not how you connect with the youth even by then. Even 10 years ago, like, you know, Blink 182 was kind of not where youth culture was at. You know? But
Yeah.
it was a little bit
Okay.
yeah. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Yeah. So, aerospace engineer Monica Jacinto Reza, co-inventor of a special rocket alloy called Mandalloy, and director of materials processing group at NASA's JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, also vanished while hiking.
Oh my gosh.
Like a few weeks ago, and her case remains unsolved. She worked directly within the program that McCaslin oversaw.
Wow.
Both major figures from the same Air Force Research Laboratory, both gone, both from hiking trips in the Southwest, both unsolved.
How far apart were they?
I want to say
dates?
just like a few. Let me see.
And that's because like when if they're like real close together that happened, I think the odds of it being a coincidence like go up exponentially, right?
Right. That's yeah. Let me get an exact date when she went
Yeah.
missing, because he went missing on February 27th,
Yeah.
and she went missing. Let me see if.
Fad Gadget says this is hilarious. It's dude, the only thing is not funny
Oh.
about it is that the fact that it's true. You know,
Yeah,
that's
actually, she went missing in June 22nd, last year.
okay. On a hiking trip though. Yeah, I mean, that's the tough thing, you know, you go on these solo hiking trips out in the desert and like you can, you know,
That
how
is
many people
such a white person thing to do.
but how many people, you know, like they'll like isn't there like some crazy stat about like how many people go missing in national parks in
Oh,
America
it's
every year?
crazy.
Like
Yeah.
it's just like a pit. You just fall in there going like so like this does happen. Yeah, exactly. Fat Guy just says that they go missing every day. And you know, and the other
sure.
thing that's obviously not funny about this is, you know, this is a real person who's missing and he's been gone for basically a month, so he's probably dead. And that's not funny or good. But it is true that this is the guy who told Tom DeLonge that they got aliens. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. And
Yeah. Obviously,
go
people
ahead.
go missing every day.
yeah.
And it's only because these people are of some importance that we hear about it, right? I'm sure there's lots of cases of people that are vaguely linked together that go missing that we never hear about because, you know, they're relatively nobodies. Not in a bad way, right? I'm a nobody, right? But when you look at this field as a whole, and you start looking at the amount of people who have disappeared, died unexpectedly, under really weird circumstances, like, oh, he killed himself, he shot himself in the back of his head. It's like, clearly that's not what happened. It's like a staggering amount of people.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just notable because, you know, this is the guy that was like, you know, Tom DeLonge was talking about him like 10 years ago, and he was just calling him the general in his book that was like about everything that led up to the formation of To the Stars Academy. So it's notable. Also, since we last recorded, there was a updated version of Moment of Contact, which we did a CW movie night episode about this documentary.
yeah.
And I sent some stuff to Dean about that. The main thing is there's a neurosurgeon who worked at the hospital in Virginia, Brazil in 1996, who's come out since James Fox made this documentary. So they made an expanded version with his interview and a few other things. And I mean, the main takeaway here is like this guy says that he got called into a examination room, and he just rounds the corner. There's a dang alien sitting there in the hospital bed.
Yeah. His
And
story was a little not all over the place, but and maybe it was just
yeah,
like the style of the interview, and
yeah,
maybe the interviewer, and he did a fine job, but
yeah,
I don't know if like he just wasn't asking the right questions, or his questions weren't like in particular order. It took
right,
me a while to really figure out what exactly this dude was talking about,
right. Fern,
or like the
did you
sequence of events.
were you familiar with this movie when we did that previous episode? Like, did you catch any of that?
I have heard about it, but I have not watched it.
Okay.
I thought you were asking me. I was like, yeah, we watched it
Yeah,
together.
yeah. I don't.
Um,
Yeah, like but you know, long and short of it is like a bunch of people remember a bunch of weird military blockades happening in this town in Brazil in 1996. Couple people say they saw a weird flying vehicle crash. Five, six other people say they saw little space aliens running around the town. And then the Americans came in and scooped up everything. That's the story. And this guy
yeah.
this guy's a neurosurgeon who worked at the hospital where they say the aliens were brought before Americans picked them up. And this guy says he went in a hospital room and there was a dang space alien sitting on the hospital bed, and he looked him over real quick, didn't do much to him. And he was like so blown away when he first saw it. He was like, "Is this a kid with like hydrocephaly or something?" Because like your brain doesn't immediately go to alien or something like that. But
Right.
you know, he says that's what he saw, and he's still he at the time he did that interview, he was still an active head of neurosurgery at that same very hospital. So it's, you know, he's not a guy who's like considered a kook. He's still doing brain surgeries to this day.
Yeah, and I like that they included footage of um what do you call it? Like they included footage, like they were asking people like, "Oh, what do you think of this guy?" And everybody was like, "Oh, he's like real smart. He's really trustworthy." I mean, that sounds a
Yeah,
little, like, "Oh, of
yeah,
course they're going to say that." But, they're like, he's a serious guy.
yeah,
He's very well respected. Everyone around town knows, how
yeah.
like
And
um
there's a little bit more context to it. Like he had a colleague back in 1996 who he claims that there was another doctor who was in the room first who might have done something like stitched up a cut on the alien. That's what he says. And he says that other guy filmed his work and filmed the alien in the hospital. And he says for years that other doctor would play that video for people at his house. He'd bring,
yeah.
yeah, if I did have a dinner party, he'd play that video for like five, six people. Here's the alien that we stitched up that one time. Now, that other doctor died in 2018 of a heart attack,
Yeah.
but his widow's still alive. His original house is there. And James Fox, the director of this documentary, went to that house and turned it upside down looking for that video. he took a couple laptops out of there with the widow's permission and brought them to a place to say, like, like, scrape whatever you can off these hard drives. And he was told by whatever facility he brought it to that the hard drives on these laptops have already been removed.
Yeah. And that house had a break-in
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. So it's like, it's just, it's almost comedic how, like, the smoking gun evidence is always just out of reach every single time.
Right. Which leaves a little room for doubt. And,
Yeah.
I had messaged you. I was like, his story's kind of not incoherent. It's a very, like, he knows what he's saying, but he is not consistent in some instances. Like, he's like, oh, he stitched up the alien, and then he asked me to come double check his work. And I go in there, I'm watching the video, and I don't really know what I'm looking at. And the other doctor's like, well, he's right here. And so I turn around and boom, there's an alien on the table. And he was in there for a couple minutes and he leaves. Because
Yeah. The way he describes this other doctor, it's like he's not, doesn't sound like someone who, doesn't sound like his level of communication quality is that of a doctor. Like, he's not expressing ideas properly.
Yeah. So the interviewers are like, well, like, you double checked his work. What did he do? And he's like, well, I don't really know. He didn't say. And it's like,
Well, he says,
okay, well,
and then
if he
then
didn't
lands
tell
on
you what he
maybe.
did, how are you double checking it?
Yeah.
And he didn't really have an answer for them. And, granted, it's been like 30 something years or whatever.
Yeah.
But then he says, oh, he just like did like a quick stitch. So I didn't really need to check it. And then a little bit later on in the interview, he says, oh, he inserted a valve. And it's like, okay, that's not an insignificant procedure. So which is it? And then immediately switches back to, oh, it's just a quick stitch. And it's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Like, you're all over the place and then you don't really have a specific answer for these guys. Like, you're like a lead surgeon in this hospital and you're asked specifically to double check this work and you don't even know what it is that he did. It's just weird. Like, when they corner him on that, he's just like, I don't know.
I hear you. And, but also, don't you think, like, say you're the first doctor, are you not going to just pull your boy out of the hall and be like, look at the alien that's in my room? Like, you don't have to do anything, but just, there's an alien in that room. Just look at him for like 5 seconds today.
That's how
'Cause
I
he's here.
originally took his story. It's like, come see what I did. Dude, you
Well,
have to come check this out. And it's
Well,
like,
what? Yeah.
that's how I took it. And then he starts saying like, oh no, he can't. He told me like, come double check my work. And I was like, this dude isn't doing fucking backflips. Like, bro, there's a fucking alien in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
And
not
then-
the work. Like, a little stitch is like you could have done a triple bypass surgery on the guy. The point is that there's an alien on the bed.
Right. And then there was, oh no, hold on. I just lost it. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say.
Fern, you trust this 80-year-old neurosurgeon that you looked at? He peeped an alien on a bed in a hospital.
Absolutely not. I think he's lying. I think he's full of shit.
What's
Oh,
the
that's
point,
right.
though?
So they're pressing him a little bit further and they're like, well, like, you knew this guy for another like several decades. Like, other than watching the video, did you guys ever talk about it? He's like, no, we don't talk about patients. It's against the rules. And it's like, it's a fucking alien. I'd be like, pull you into my fucking car or whatever and be like, dude, we
Yeah.
got to talk about this fucking alien, bro.
But we'll watch the video a bunch of times. And I think there's
Right. And it's like, that is crazy to me. It's
There's
like,
a
we
lot.
don't discuss, because they're like, well, what did he do? And you're like, well, we can't talk about that stuff. And so over the
yeah.
30 years, we never talked about the procedure. It's like, but you're fucking showing the video? That's crazy to me.
Well, there's even more than that. Like, it's just, and I do wonder a little bit, like, if there's a little bit of lost in translation, like, from like Portuguese to English, because like,
True.
they're struggling. Like maybe it sounds stupider, like because like they're doing real time translation and like it doesn't make as much sense. But like there is some variables where like this guy's story has changed over the last few years. Like at one point he was saying, if I'm not mistaken, at one point he was saying, I didn't see the alien, but I didn't see the alien in person, but I saw the video. At one point
Right.
he was saying that. And then I think at another point he actually claimed to have a copy of the video, but he just says he doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah. Which could also be the case. He could be afraid to release it, or maybe it's all
Yeah.
bullshit. Like
Yeah.
the thing I've learned over the years is, especially with like all these conspiracies that like turned out to be true, it's like the Epstein stuff. It's always a maybe. Never say yes or no one way or the other. Just maybe. You never know what's disinformation. You never know what is true, what's not, just a lie. Just maybe, right? So I'm giving him okay, maybe.
Yeah.
What,
But
I don't
even-
get,
Go ahead,
what I don't
Frank.
get is like if he's claiming that like, oh, it's whatever, it's not that big deal, or like I don't have the movie or the video or this, then why the fuck are you doing these interviews? What the fuck is the point of it?
Well,
If you're not gonna
okay,
admit
so
anything.
here's what he says. Here's what he said. He's saying he doesn't physically have the custody of the evidence, but when asked why he's coming forward now, he says, like he said something like, last year I had a heart attack. This is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me. My buddy died before he could talk about it. People who actually saw and knew what happened are dropping off like flies. It's 35 years ago. So I'm just going to talk about it. And another interesting thing that happened since then. So like for this documentary, he brought James Fox and a camera guy in the back door of the hospital and took him right up to the exact room where he says he looked at this alien. And they're filming in the hospital without going through proper channels to have permits and all that. He rushed him in there and they're filming in there. He was actually terminated by the hospital after that. But they brought him back because they could not replace him in the city. So they fired him for bringing James Fox in and then rehired him because he's the only guy who could do that type of neurosurgery till they find somebody else.
Right.
So like that's, I mean, you know what I mean? Like if you're firing somebody on full on principle, rehiring them is an interesting play. But I don't know. There's a lot to this story, and that's keeping in mind, Dean. Like you have also like the 30 other people who say they saw different weird stuff that day.
Yeah, it's not like it's just one or two people. It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
When if you watch the initial
Yeah, the documentary moment.
the
of contact
documentary,
here.
thank you. I mean, just James Fox is walking around town asking like, "Hey, were you there that day?" They're like, "Oh yeah, dude, I saw this thing," or, "Oh yeah, I was standing on this corner and
Yeah.
X, Y, and
Dude,
Z happened."
my favorite one is there's a guy who was just like, I was a teenager and I was walking to my gym and there was a military roadblock that says you're not going to your gym. He didn't see
Yeah.
nothing weird. He didn't see no aliens or spaceship or anything. He just said, "I know the army was like locking down the whole city that day."
Yeah.
That's a good witness because like he's not hyping anything. He didn't see anything that interesting. He's just like, "I know the military was doing weird stuff that day."
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost everybody in the town who was around then has something like, and it's all in, Virginia, that
Yeah.
little town, or I don't know how little it is, but, it's not an insignificant amount of people is the thing. And it's like, everyone's corroborating this. Everyone has stories.
Few different,
Um,
like talking with like 4 or 5 doctors who are putting their names on the record.
Yeah.
Saw different stuff.
All of which these people, now I will say, they always make it a point like, oh, none of these people have made any money on this, which is also debated. There are people that say that they have, and
Well, I mean, not a lot. I mean, like here's the thing you gotta understand about James Fox, right? Like, the guy's in his mid 50s. none of his movies until The Phenomenon like were a financial success. He was in like 60 grand of debt in like 2019 making The Phenomenon. Like none of his films have been big financial getters. The producers of their first version of Moment of Contact, if I'm not mistaken, it was either this or the program. He lost all the royalties to one of these. It might have been the reason why he did a recut of Moment of Contact, because like he somehow like got screwed over out of like any money from one of those two movies, his two most
Yeah.
recent ones. Like he's not, he's not balling out of control. He pays for this stuff out of his own pocket. Fortunately, they're not the most expensive films to produce. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Not
But-
not gonna lie, but for a good little minute, I thought Jamie Foxx made the movie. I was like, I didn't know Jamie Foxx was into aliens.
This is why we bring Fern. DLC Darth says, anyone looking forward to Disclosure Day? That's the new Spielberg movie that is basically about humanity finally finding out that we're not alone. And there's been a couple trailers and a promo teaser with an interesting interview from Spielberg. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I haven't seen that one. But didn't Spielberg? How about this guy? Wasn't it Spielberg?
This guy this guy wrote Spielberg a letter and got a reply that said look into a specific case, like I think it was the Rua case in Zimbabwe, but Spielberg didn't actually even make a phone call to him. He wrote him his secretary wrote him a letter back basically.
Oh, okay.
And said
I'm
look
willing
at
to-
this one case.
I'm willing to bet that Spielberg has seen some crazy shit.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, right? This Disclosure Day has a promo that features a few clips and then an interview with Spielberg. And Spielberg's like, basically he's like, yeah, I no longer think, I no longer think we're alone on this planet, and like I think there's he's talking in his teaser saying like his new movie's a documentary basically, which like he's hyping up his own movie, but like that's to find another example of someone treating space alien subject matter that way. And it's like it's just like the way he talks in this promo is like why are we not being told? It's not like are we not being told?
Yeah.
It's interesting. And Spielberg of course, and we might have talked about it on our last episode, but you can find some audio interview with him, a very short clip where he talks about doing a White House screening of E.T. I don't know if you guys know about this. During the Reagan era, Spielberg, before E.T. came out properly in theaters, Spielberg is invited to the White House to screen it for Reagan and the high ups, and the Defense Department and the White House. So you got a White House screening room. They watch E.T. and Ronnie Reagan gets up there. This is according to Spielberg. He says, he looks around the room and he says, there's a bunch of people in this room who know that everything that happened in that movie is exactly true. And he's not laughing. He looks around the room, and that Spielberg is going around saying that this happened. So that's a weird thing to say, especially because it's E.T. It's not like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Well, I was about to say Close Encounters of the Third Time. There are people that say that is
About as accurate as you can get to what's going on.
right,
Yeah.
and that's how it happened, and they made a movie about it to kind of like desensitize people.
And yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that is like super dialed in for coming out in like 1976 or 77, I think. Like
Something like
like first of all, the guy who ran Project Blue Book has a cameo. Like when the mothership comes down at the end, like the actual guy from Project Blue Book is there, which is like
Yeah.
10 years. Project Blue Book's like 10 years old at that time. Like you know what I mean? And then like Jacques Vallée, who is he worked on Blue Book, he has a cameo in it too. And like there's crates at what do you call it, Devil's Peak or something in the movie, that national park. There's crates that are spray painted like Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and stuff. Like this is stuff that like wasn't really in the popular culture like until the 90s. Is like baked into that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's like what was actually known there, and you have like something a lot of people forget about that movie is at the end when the spaceship comes down, there's like a bunch of humans who like get off the ship from like different time periods and stuff that like they were collected over the years as some sort of like student exchange program or something. But yeah, Spielberg might be pretty dialed in. I mean, Ronald Reagan's might have been already going senile by then, but it's an interesting comment for sure. And yeah, that movie's gonna be good. I feel like Spielberg, like it seems like he rested long enough that it's gonna be a good one.
The trailer was crazy. It was
Yeah.
like kind of creepy.
Yeah, and there's one more upcoming doc that I want to talk about. We talked about this last time, but S4, the Bob Lazar story, this was supposed to be out summer last year. That's the big joke. Finally has a proper release date, and it's basically next week.
Oh, hell yeah.
On Amazon, April 3rd.
Fuck yeah, I have Amazon.
And so like, there's a new trailer that's pretty crazy looking. These are a couple screenshots from it. And
Is this-
it's like,
Go on,
Go ahead.
sorry.
go ahead.
No, that looks just like him. Is that an actor?
Yeah, so this
AI,
is where
or
there's
what the
there's a little
fuck?
bit of yeah, exactly, right? There's a little bit of controversy because one of the big selling points was they started this movie before there's the old poster which says summer 2025. Come and gone, brother. But the big selling point of this movie was it started before the AI generative video thing really took off.
Yeah.
And you can't, at least now, you can't exactly use it for this sort of thing because you don't get to really micromanage the details when you're doing
Right.
like text to video. Like the goal here was recreate this base exactly like Bob Lazar says that he saw it when he worked there in 1989. So because he's signing off on how everything looks to the best of his memory. So like you don't want to do that with AI where it's going to change certain details between shots and all that. But so like this environment is sort of done and it's a proper like Unreal Engine like Blender 3D environment. But this new trailer has a bunch of like de-aged Bob Lazar shots that are like just like just knowing what I know about the budget of this film and the current state of the industry, like these are AI. Like
Oh, okay.
100%. So it might be that they're taking some of the Blender assets because like a lot of them are like portrait type shots where they're more focused on him, and like you just cannot achieve this any other way right now. Like when you look at like the episodes of The Mandalorian that had like a de-aged Luke and all that, like this is better than that, and this is
Yeah.
low budget. Like as far as looking like the actual guy de-aged.
Yeah.
So like there was a little bit of controversy because they're like, "Are you guys started using AI in this film?" And like, what's the deal with that?
I think
so, like-
people really need to stop
Just
that
get over it.
battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it looks
get
great.
the fuck over it.
Yeah, yeah. And you're never gonna get that look. Like you can't like it's pulling from so many like actual references that you get these DH characters that look exactly the way they're supposed to. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, this
But,
whole Bob Lazar thing, that is
yeah.
something that I am actually pretty familiar with. I've seen a bunch
Mhm.
of interviews with Bob Lazar over the years. It's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy. It's interesting. The shit that he claims that he's witnessed and has worked on. Really,
Oh, and
Yeah.
also like predated. Like he said something existed, and they're like, "No, it doesn't." And then they found it like a decade later.
Yeah, that was the Element 115, which he is holding
Yeah.
a facsimile of in this photo. He says they machine it into a triangle and put it in the reactor. But the version of it that was discovered using the Large Hadron Collider was not stable and only survived for like milliseconds, basically. So like it's sort of like they would have to. It's a way of making it a stable element that is currently not discovered by science, basically, like us in a public sense.
I was about to say that we know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I mean, I would, if you haven't seen it, I would check out the new trailer because there's just like a load. Unobtainium. And then it sounds like Unobtainium. Rob Barnes says, yeah, and the metal you were talking about, that other lady who disappeared hiking, it sounded like she made like Mandalorian steel Beskar or something. It was like
Yeah.
whatever it's called, basically. Mandor
Yeah.
or some shit. But
I work in aerospace,
yeah.
and the guy who is part owner of our company literally invented the material used to coat the blades on a jet engine to stop them from overheating and melting. Like, that's fucking it's like, god damn, dude. Like,
It takes a village, man.
it really does.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, this is why I always say, like, I think some of this stuff is exaggerated, or people want to make sense of something they don't understand. So it's like, oh, it's aliens. Like, I think the government just has technology that we can't even fucking think of. I mean, and I think I've said this before, people were using their cell phones as wallets in Japan like 20 years ago. And that's something we just started doing here. And it's like, you don't think there's technology that you just can't even fathom, like,
Yeah.
I mean, half the shit we have now is, it comes directly from like NASA budgets.
Yeah,
And
derivative technology that it was
right.
designed for the space program, but it was spun off into other things down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just pretty recently, I think they made a discovery in Egypt to where they found
Oh, the underground stuff.
stuff with what's that their language, the what's it called? I was gonna say holographic, but that's not it.
Yeah.
Hieroglyphs.
Hieroglyphs. There you go. Hieroglyphs explaining how the pyramids were made and stuff like that. And it's like
No,
they're
there's no
making
way that's true.
they're
Well,
making new discoveries.
Well, the
Supposedly,
problem.
Apparently
Supposedly.
today they found a second Sphinx
That
Oh,
thing.
buried or something.
at like 10 a.m. Yeah. I have the tweet right here.
Wow.
Breaking: a second Sphinx detected in Egypt as scans hints underground megastructure. March
Wow.
26th at 10 a.m.
Yeah, the problem with finding new hieroglyphs in Egypt is like people like so many like generations and different cultures like sort of restarted in that area and painted over the previous guy's stuff. Like
Yeah.
kept the bricks up, put new paintings up so many times
Yeah,
over and
'cause
over.
Of
Yeah.
all the hieroglyphs that we have, there is literally no reference to the building of the pyramids, which makes people think that Egypt didn't even create the pyramids. I mean, they say it's a tomb for the king, but there's never been a mummy that's been found inside any of the pyramids. So it's like, if these now they've been raided over the centuries, so it's just possible that we never came across them. But we're closer in time to Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the creation of the pyramids.
Right, and they were hanging out
That's
there
how
redecorating.
Fucking
Yeah.
old they are. They were ancient. There were people studying the pyramids when the Egyptians were around. So
And there was raiders back then too. So like you
if
have no
they
idea.
found hieroglyphs talking about how they built the pyramids, that's fucking crazy big news, and I haven't heard that.
Well,
And I'm
it could
kind of
also-
on top of that shit all the time.
But it could also just be like some graffiti artist from Cleopatra's time writing fan fiction about how he thinks the pyramids were built. Like,
Right.
like it's you have no idea when something's that old, right?
Yeah, because they're like, oh, they just built ramp. It's like, you know how fucking tall these things are, and they have a ramp level enough to be able to move stuff that's not crazy.
Well, no. Here's the
would
crazy
require
thing.
more earth than the pyramids have. It's like and they'd be like 10 miles long to have that steady incline.
No, well, here's the crazy thing. One thing that they explained about the construction of the pyramids, to transport the stones that are like tons and tons of pounds, they literally made not tunnels, but like canals to kind of make the Nile go
Yeah, right.
all the way to the pyramid, so that they could kind of
Yeah, the Nile was
sail.
much bigger back then. Yeah.
Well, not only that, they made literally canals all the way to the pyramids so that they
Right.
could sail the stones all the way over there.
Yeah, but then what? How do you get them up? Those things are huge.
I mean, I don't know. Alien, man.
Because you're correct. The stones were quarried elsewhere, not close. It's like 200 miles or something. But it's like, okay, you got them here. Now what? Nobody knows. Literally nobody knows. That's why everyone thinks it's aliens, right? Which I don't know. They do have some pretty interesting hieroglyphs of like that doesn't look like anything that was around back then. So it's a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I mean, since we last recorded, Jeremy Corbell has released a few new videos that are just short uh clips that were filmed by defense platforms. Some of them are kind of interesting, and I'm trying to find one in specific right now where it's like it just shows how much there's been. But there's one that's like actually shows a light in the sky taking off at like an alarming rate, like between two frames, it just zips like a massive amount of distance. And that is something you don't see a whole lot of, because it's like a lot of these videos, like they're showing lights in the sky, they're not really doing anything super remarkable, like a lot of them are just like sort of lazily listing to the left as the joke from Blue Harvest, like he's got some sweet pilot skills. He just sort of drifts off to one side, like it could be a lantern or a balloon or something in a lot of these cases. And it's cool when you get a video that is clearly not anything like that. But yeah, that's like, I don't know, I feel like there's been so much going on, but that Bob Lazar movie is probably the main thing I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I don't know if there was anything else that you guys sort of picked up in the news that you wanted to talk about, if you want to go back to anything here.
Brother, I always try and send you stuff and you're like, bro, that's old. That's old news. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just hearing about it.
Yeah. I like, there's so much that I'm trying to find this like one specific UAP video, and it's like I just can't even find it. There's so many new ones all the time.
Yeah.
It's-
I was watching a thing the other day about was it in Vegas or was it in New Mexico with that mall that they shut down?
It was in Vegas.
It was in Vegas.
In Vegas.
And
I remember that.
Chris, I'm sure you saw the video where it's like thousands of cop cars like shut down the street, and
Yep.
everyone claims that there were like these beings there, and then the official report's like, no, it's just like teenagers fighting. It's like, that's a massive response for a group of people in a fight. And then they're saying that there's one guy who has like video evidence, and he has like a warrant out, and like no one knows where this dude is, and
It's always the way.
it's like a race to find him, and I don't know.
Yeah, like, well, is that the same one where they like had some footage like at a house and they were like, something's in the backyard?
That was like the same, not the same day, but around the same time. Yeah. It was,
Okay. That was still Vegas, right?
and the cop on the body camera says he saw something. He was like, there was something there.
Well, there's that, and then like the crazy thing is like one of the cops responding to that house call, like on their body cam footage, picked up like a meteorite, like as they were pulling up at the guy's house. So like they don't know what it was, but like you literally see this green fireball in the sky, like as the guy's rolling up to the alien house call. And it's like it was just a meteorite, but like it's in the guy's body cam field of view as he's rolling up on the house. Like, come on. What kind of that's crazy coincidence. Freak
Pretty
people out.
crazy.
Like if you're that cop and you see a green fireball and you're not used to seeing comets, like as you're heading up to the alien house call, that's gonna freak you out for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe I'll leave.
there's a lot of interesting stuff. TikTok has a lot of cool stuff on it. But I mean, it's even harder now to figure out what's real and what's not, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that. Okay, this is, I mean, this is might be a little underwhelming, but I think this is a really important clip. I'm gonna bring it up just for a sec. Because this is like when they talk about showing like clear observables of tech that is not stuff that we have. Like, so here's like this is gonna be over, blink and you miss it over, and it's kind of hard to replay the clip here. But like this is sort of like, you know, this is a recent leaked video Jeremy Corbell put out, and like this thing is in frame for a long time, and then it just takes off like nothing else. Like it's out of frame and the tracking stops after that. I don't know if it's lagging out here pretty hard.
Did he say
But,
where that was taken?
They never do.
Oh.
But yeah, it's
Whoa.
like, yeah, I mean that's, you know, you forget how many of these clips there are, right? Like there's so much stuff like that. But yeah, like I'll see if I can pull it up one more time, but like that thing, like you gotta really track it, and like it's sort of like zips off at like a super alarming rate. And it's not, I mean, you don't usually get that sort of footage where it's usually just floating around doing its thing, you know, and like you don't get to see where it goes. But like this thing, it just moves off at a mean clip. And there's like one frame in there where it like streaks. It's probably impossible to get it, but it just
Yeah,
like dips out.
it'd be interesting to know like the scale of that. Like, oh, that was 200 miles, and like,
Yeah, like that's the thing, right? Like how zoomed in is it? Because it makes stuff look faster when it's
right.
like real zoomed in. But you know, you don't usually get anything like that where you can actually like see it moving off at a mean clip. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had for tonight, boys.
Cool beans.
Yeah, man. But I don't know. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I'm trying to think if there's anything.
I think I saw a UFO the other day.
I was
Really?
gonna ask you, Fern. I mean, you live in California, and then you were in Arizona for a while. Like,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever see anything kind of crazy out there? It seems like where everyone always sees shit.
I mean, no, I've never seen anything like crazy. But the other day I was on a walk at night, and I was just looking up, and then all of a sudden I just see like a beam of light. It looked like a star. And it goes down across the sky, makes a U-turn, then comes back around, and then it just disappears.
Damn.
And I was like, did I just fucking see that shit, or am I fucking tripping?
That's pretty much like what Rob Barnes is saying. It's not only the speed, but the
inertia would kill
G-forces.
people. Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if there's pilots in there, they are jelly. That's the
But
point.
I was like, maybe it was a shooting star, but like a shooting star doesn't move like that. Like it literally, it was like a second. It literally went, and then
Yeah.
boom, it did a U-turn, then came back around, and it just disappeared. And I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck did I just see?
Shooting stars don't do U-turns. But also, that's the weird thing, right? Like what is the value of doing a U-turn? And there's no reason a UFO should be doing a U-turn either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess
don't
you
miss-
have to.
They don't miss their exit, you'd think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not only that, but it's like, okay, so you do a U-turn for all of 2.5 seconds and then you leave again. It's like, what did you
Are you
see in that 2 seconds that you didn't see the first time? You know?
Are you just literally messing with people, or is it something that's not an intelligently controlled thing that you're seeing? Like, is it some natural phenomenon like a ball lightning or something? You know?
Right.
I will say though, there is an army base by my house where they have a bunch of pilots or a bunch of planes and stuff. As a matter of fact, the jets that flew across the stadium in Super Bowl were from here, from my hometown. And I remember the day that supposedly Iran was going to bomb America. I mean, we had fucking jets everywhere outside that day. And I was like, God damn, dude, I'm sure they're like training or just keeping a lookout. I mean, there is all kinds like regular jets and like crazy looking other jets that I'm like, I've never seen these jets before. So I mean, maybe they're just test piloting something that day when I saw the alleged UFO, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like an F-35 can get like anywhere over the continental United States in like an hour and a half, like no problem. At
Mhm.
long, like I mean, less than that, because they're usually not going the full distance. They're
I,
low. Yeah.
I had a math teacher in middle school and high school. He invented, literally, he has like awards all over his wall, the flight systems for the F-22. And he has like plaques and like miniatures of the F-22, and those things are crazy. They have like their helmets are like VR, and they don't even see the plane around them. It like all they see is sky. And it's like, that's fucking crazy. They could just literally like look down and see the ground. And and the F-22 is old news at this point.
Yeah.
We have the F-35s now. And then I
Yeah.
think those are getting replaced soon.
Well, like military contractors gotta keep printing money, bro.
Yeah.
Even
Well, that's
though
what I'm saying, dude. Like,
even though you barely, you gotta look for a reason to actually apply those jets. You gotta have new ones all the time. You know how it is.
yeah, like
Because
a
if
war
you
with
don't,
Iran.
yeah, you don't have
A
new ones,
forever
somebody
war.
else will have new ones if you don't have new ones. That's the idea, right?
Yeah. And then God, what's that? What's the OpenAI guy's name?
Is it Sam Altman?
Sam Altman. He just unveiled, and I think it was in Japan. It's like a squadron of unmanned drones, and they use AI to communicate with a single pilot. And so one pilot will have control over like 6 or 7 of these things. And they could do like their own missions while he's flying around. And it's like, dude, like that's why I always say, like, I don't think it's aliens, dude. I just don't. Like, considering we don't
know.
have concrete evidence, it's just people saying, yeah, they're out there.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean-
that Dean, but it's just too disruptive, man. That's why they can't have it. It's like you don't know, like they dropped they
Is it
dropped
that disruptive though?
It
I
is.
still have bills to pay.
Yeah, but here's
they
why.
come out tomorrow and say aliens exist. How does your life
Yeah.
change?
But like they dropped hydrogen bombs, and like 70 years ago. You can't look up how they're made. You know what I mean? Like they'll come after you. You can't have that data. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like it just might be too game breaking. Dean still has pre-orders. Damn it.
I do. Quite a bit. In fact, I was going to put in some today.
You know what I mean? Like
Um,
you can't have a fuel crisis if there's free energy. Like what do you? It's too disruptive.
But that's another thing. It's like, okay, so there's free energy, right? But
But if there's
Or-
free energy, you can't you can't allow everyone to have unlimited access to it because with free energy, one single person could be an existential threat to this human civilization. You know,
I mean,
you know
I
what I mean?
guess, but
Like if
like
you
you could make the same argument about water. I still have a water bill. You
no, I
you
just
provide the infrastructure to get the free energy and have like a subscription to it.
yeah, but you
I
know
mean, you're not losing any money.
there was a very interesting sort of debate interview podcast on Jesse Michaels' channel recently, where this channel's called American Alchemy, and you had Eric Davis, who is like a physicist guy who worked on a lot of military projects, says he had adjacent contact with people working on the legacy reverse engineering programs, but he didn't work on it himself. He just claims like I know about it, I've seen some data. I know I've talked to the guys. I wasn't granted access, but I know the names who are running these programs. And he was talking to he was talking to Eric Weinstein. The two Erics, yeah, were on there. But Eric Weinstein's like a more traditional physicist who's like he's actively like trying to figure out like what was Einstein missing? How can we push physics forward in a way that doesn't rely on string theory? So you have like a more traditional academic guy grilling a guy who says, I know physics and I know that the reverse engineering program is real. It's a very fascinating conversation on American Alchemy. You should check it out. But like the main takeaway there was like they were both sort of like we think they figured out that physics is too dangerous to be taught at post-secondary institutions, and string theory was basically invented as a dead end to push people towards in the academic circle.
Oh,
Because it's close enough to sounding right, but it hasn't created anything in 50 years.
yeah.
It's like it's been a dead end for physics basically. It's almost like they found out that it's too easy to tap into like unlimited energy, something along those lines. It's like it's too easy to like wreck shop if you actually understand what's going on with physics. So we had to throw academia off.
Wow.
That's where they sort of end up in that conversation. It's fascinating. Who knows if that's accurate, but it's true that string theory hasn't been conclusively proven in 50 years, and it hasn't really created any meaningful change in the life of the average human being. It's sort of
Wow.
all talk after a few decades, and physics didn't used to be that way. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I mean, it's like they say, man. We know more about space than we know about the ocean.
What does that have to do with physics?
I mean,
Well, it's like it could be that like it could be that like there's a physics revolution that's being sequestered. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a cool chat because those two guys are sort of qualified to know, and you don't usually have a guy who who says that the classified reverse engineering program is real, who actually knows physics, and then have him
Right.
grilled by a guy who is like a traditional academic who knows physics. It's interesting because he's like he wants him to answer for a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense to him, and you get to hear that interaction. It's pretty cool. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got for tonight. So maybe we should wrap it up unless you guys got anything else.
Uh, they postponed the moon landing. We were
Well, it was
supposed
just
to go
gonna
back.
it was just gonna loop around. They weren't gonna land.
Yeah. No, they were gonna land what, like next year, and now it's 3 years away.
Yeah, like
Because they're
what
like
they
it's a new ship, a new lander, uh, something else. Is like it's too many new things to like just do at one time. So now we're gonna like do tests and stuff, and now it's 3 years away. But we were 3 years away 3 years ago, so it's like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah. Yeah, but I knew they were supposed to have a manned mission that was gonna go like orbit the moon and then come back. That was supposed to be any time now. But it shows you like how over it people are from like like if call me back when you're landing is the attitude, which is actually a crime. But
They're
Yeah.
they're waiting they're waiting for AI to get better so they can fake the moon landing again.
again,
Didn't no, in fact, I think it was
no.
China just
China.
did an orbit around the moon, and there's photos of
The landing sites.
the
Yeah.
moon landing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like if they had a reason to lie, they would. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like if it's fun. They would think it's funny to show you a picture of the supposed Apollo landing sites and nothing's there.
Right. And it's like
But okay,
our
here's
biggest
something
op just confirmed that the moon landing was real.
yeah. Here's okay.
Well,
Rob Barnes says
apparently,
something-
apparently, you could view the stuff with a telescope.
No. No, you cannot.
I mean, it's like seeing a car, like you don't realize how far away it is. Like it's like it's like
Yeah.
10 times. It's like 10 times the diameter of the planet. Like it's like there's the biggest
Yeah.
thing on there is the size of a camping tent. You're not gonna see it, but
Yeah. It's you'd have to have the most powerful you'd have to have the Hubble telescope. Actually, that wouldn't even work because yeah,
it's probably designed for deep field. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty
Right.
tough. Yeah, because like you look at these new orbiter pictures, and even in those, like the gear is tiny in these shots. Like
Yeah.
like it's
yeah, and they're literally like a mile up and you could barely see it.
Yeah.
And they're at
just-
the fucking moon.
yeah. There's okay. Rob Barnes said something interesting here. I want to touch on. He says, "Until we figure out how to travel at light speed, doesn't matter. If aliens are millions of years more advanced, we'd be at their mercy anyhow." The thing, this perspective comes up a lot, but it's like there's a reason why, if there is anything to it, it's important that it be made public because it doesn't. Yeah, we'd be at their mercy if they're here, and the fact that we
Would
still
we?
exist.
They fucking
Yeah.
seem to crash every other day.
But if they, but if yeah,
It's
but
like
if they
you
got
got
the,
all the way here and wrecked. Get fucked.
but if they got the energy to get, if they got the energy to get here, they could do some really disruptive things if they wanted to. And here's the other thing though, it's like stuff like this is what pushes the next generation of people to pick certain career paths. And like if it was public knowledge for a fact that somebody else had made it here, that there's no shot. Like Star Trek got people to, so you talk to people who work at NASA, they're there because they saw Star Trek as a kid.
Yeah.
If you know for a fact that somebody else was able to make it here, that's going to inspire a whole generation of people to explore that side of education and career paths. And it's important for, I think it's important for cultural development. If it's true, it's a crime that the people don't know, especially if you're paying all these black budget bills, $10 million hammers because they're spending it on Bob Lazar and stuff. Like, it's not that's not right. You're footing the bill either way. You should know where it's going. And I feel like fundamental science discoveries are not something that should be classified. That's just crazy.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I feel like that's true. But also, like, traveling at the speed of light, just in theory, doesn't work.
And you
Like-
don't even need it for them to be here.
Yeah, because let's just say we could, and not even at the speed of light, 99%. You send Fern to Andromeda.
Sure.
You're going to get there in 4 years, Fern. Or is it 4 or 40?
It's Proxima Centauri is the 4 light years away closest
Okay,
one.
thank you.
Yeah.
Proxima, we're going to send you there. And you'll get there in 4 years.
And you won't be able to
For,
stop
for Fern, it's the exact same instance he leaves.
because
right.
time's not
'Cause-
passing at that.
Right,
speed.
time doesn't pass, so he gets there instantly.
Yeah.
For us, it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
And then the other way around, right? He goes there, he checks it out, and he comes back 8 years.
That's but
so
that-
getting anywhere meaningful, everything you left behind is gone.
I think there's a point of civilizational advancement where you don't care about that anymore. because what you're sending is not a person like you or me.
Well, then
What
why
you're
would the
sending-
aliens send aliens then if they're here?
Maybe what people look at as aliens, like the Greys, are just
They're
a
not
3D
organic?
printed a 3D printed construct that's just
Oh,
interact.
like a
Maybe it's just nothing.
biological, like a
If it's
Snoke.
If it's even biological,
Okay.
right? Like maybe it's just that's an artifact of a software system. Like you know what I mean? Like what it could be. There's no reason
Yeah.
why not. You know, what's more
I
likely?
didn't,
There's a
I
dude.
didn't think of that.
There's a dude driving a car 20 light years, or they just printed out a guy to do a basic task when they got here. I don't know. I don't know, because it doesn't require a lot of active management to head in a straight direction for a really long freaking time. You
Now,
know?
I have heard that aliens, especially the Greys, are
The Greys.
basically highly evolved versions of humans from different planets.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's a theory. That they're not aliens, they're future humans, which is also kind of the storyline for Interstellar.
Yeah,
Is it?
people try to say it's like Occam's razor, that like it's more likely that we figured out time travel than somebody else from a different solar system made it here. I'm not sure I agree with that. But it's
Yeah.
close.
Or
Yeah.
that, I mean, going back to what Fern said about the ocean thing, I was just giving him a little, guff earlier. But we know more about space than we do about the ocean, or even the interior of the planet. But I
'Cause you
mean,
can see
it's
through space. That's
it's
why.
a guess at what is at the core of the planet. It's molten rock. Is it? We don't really know. We have a pretty educated guess on what it could
For
be.
sure. And not just that,
Um,
but all of that science is like less than 200 years
Theoretical,
old.
right?
Yeah,
and
and like-
theory. It's
yeah.
not hard science,
Yeah, but it's
So-
all like it's borderline within living memory, like all of it. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it could also not be extraterrestrial at all. It could be intraterrestrial things inside the planet, and that's like the hollow Earth theory and all that shit. That's a whole other thing. So it's like
Well,
technically still alien, but not extraterrestrial.
But
Which
there's-
going back to that tweet.
yeah. But there's but even more simply than that, like if you just look at like like odds, like even if they're, even if they were Tony Mafia's heading out because he can't handle any more of this dang alien
All
talk.
right, buddy.
But
Thanks for joining us.
but just statistically, like even if they were from 20 light years away, like the odds that they arrived just as we were advanced enough to like speculate
Pick
at
'em
what
up.
they are is very low. Like more likely they got here while we were still slinging mud at each other, and they just been here that whole time because that's a weekend on their time scales anyway.
Right. But also, going back to the, inside the planet Earth or whatever, gravity would work completely different, right? Because now you're under all
Well,
this
it's way
pressure.
heavier, yeah.
Right. So they could have developed a science that we couldn't even fathom because we wouldn't ever have to use it or be under the circumstances to figure out how to fly like that and get out of here. Like, they're surrounded by an Earth or,
Yeah, it's
let's just
just
say
they
it's
can't-
hollow or whatever. But, that could also explain why we always see them go into the oceans, right? That's a huge thing, is the UFOs always fly into the oceans. Or, people always see them like go into like mysterious caves or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
So who knows? I mean, it's
Yeah.
all speculation.
It's never straightforward.
It's
but,
a fun conversation.
Exactly. We could keep going forever. We had a good time. Appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, Fern. I know it was a last minute call there. We're gonna sign
to
off
be
and
here.
say good. Appreciate you, man. We're gonna say goodbye to our Patreonies here. We got Captain Fordo, Renee Mendez, Eric Mariscal, King Louis, Mark Pearson, Paul Schreiber, Equan, Chris Valencerina, Ben Thomas, David Jones, Sam Gist, Eric Schweitzer, Six Guns Figs, Badfish, Luke Skywalker, Griffin Campbell, Aaron Broverman, Comics, I don't know why your name's just comics, bro. You gotta get your real name in there. That's strange to me. You get some credit for your participation in the Patreon program there. And Austin McLean, Dan Lee, Deanie Martin, Big Fern, and Caesar American, Mark Phillips, Lisa Martin, Bomonsky, Jose CZ, Tukathri, Wah, Aries Portillo, Alvin J, Aurelius Delgado, Toy Cartel, Sean Forrester, Manny Fresh 369, Joe Corpus, Pablo Meza, Cam Collects, Harry Dempsey, Neko Catgirl, Eric. How are we saying that, Dean? Eric what?
Lorky.
Lorky. Okay, that's cool. And we got Mr. Musashi, Sith Scale Collector, Jared Gagne, Alberto Cortez, Big Rib, the Big Donk, and that's wrong too, right? It's the Big Duke.
Duke. Yeah.
The Big Duke.
Doonk.
Okay, and Trevor Weed, Darren Ilderton, Dom Matan, Stephen Percha, Sean Yahtzee, Stephen Maria Stanley, Eddie Montanarez, Louis Bennett, Chip Perrin, Exodus, Abe Dunk TV, GG the Judgmental, and Classy Thomas. Thanks so much for being part of the Patreon there. I think, well, there's probably like 5, 6 Dean Suds still available out there. Who knows how many Zach has in the vault. If you join at the top tier, you could still probably grab one of those. And other than that, if you want to join Patreon, you can get the hot seat for $5, where you get the digital benefits. You can get access to all the unlisted episodes of After Dark. And on the Sweet Angel tier for $7.50 per month or above, you get stickers sent to you every other month. And the current stickers for March, April are OFAC 2.0, which they just had an episode today. So those guys are back at it, so you can check that out. And the Dean $6.99 chicken sticker, which I think he explained on our last episode of Small Talk. Zach was just incredulous at the idea that Dean was up to date on the price of chicken per pound. And
which I was.
He thought that was very funny. So apparently that's what it takes to get a new sticker made. It's very original.
My head is way too big on that.
And then we got our YouTube channel members: 12-inch Moose Stream, Absolute Irwin, Alex Black, Alvin J, Aurelius Delgado, Aaron Salazar, Aaron Broverman, Aaron Articulates, who is, I think he's on OFAC now, right? That's, I think. And then Ben Thomas, Big Rib, Bob Dylan, Chris Valencerina, Clinton Martin, CT603, DJ, Eddie Money Mendez, Fat Thai Kid Inside. That isn't, I haven't added a new one of these in a while, but I think that's up to date. And Gare Bear, Harry Dempsey, Hodor, Howard Potts, Mike's Adventure World, Manny Fresh 369, Jake, Just Another Friday Night, Justin Sports Card, Jazzy, King Dingling, Luke Skywalker, LV Avenger 702, Figure in a Bubble, Mr. Sketch, Neko Catgirl, OG Fan 1/6 Figure Focus, Philip the Fool, Ron E, S Beam, Sam Gist, Sean Forrester, SpongeBob SquareBalls, Stephen Kret. There's some scratching. And Trevor Weed, Universal Key, and Yomo. Thanks so much for being YouTube channel members, everybody. And taking a quick look at the network, you got the new OFAC logo there. Collecting Weekly live every Tuesday night. And After Dark live every Wednesday night. Small Talk every other Thursday with OFAC. I think right now that cycle is in activation. And movie night whenever we feel like doing it, basically, at this point, until I get kicked off the network. And Just Another Friday Night live every Friday night, focusing on your entertainment news. That's just about it for us. Any shout outs before we get going, guys?
No, I don't think so.
Cool.
Shout out to all the extraterrestrial beings out there.
Yeah, man, they need to be acknowledged. I appreciate you making that reference, Fern. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us. I appreciate your company as always, and we'll see you on the next episode. Later, guys.
Bye.